It's Rabbi Lewis wishing you an early Shabbat Shalom. And also, I'm about to use what may be the most expensive prop in the history of rabbi sermons. That's right, an egg, which is starting to become a very hot commodity. Well, actually, it just came out of my refrigerator, so probably not so hot. Anyhow, for a moment, just imagine that you are a baby chick that's been incubating and waiting to hatch, and it's dark inside, and eventually you get the notion that you need to find your way out, slowly pecking your way until cracks break in it bit by bit, maybe taking longer than some others to get out of that shell, until finally the shell breaks around you and you emerge a whole baby chick. Now, I can't replicate that because obviously this is an egg for consumption. But can you imagine if they were able to not just be in the dark on the inside, but have that perspective from the outside to see how things are progressing, how much easier, how much more quickly it might progress, and it seems more obvious. Now, of course, baby chicks don't have that ability. They don't have any sort of like cameras from the outside where they can peer and see how things are going. And presumably there's nobody there to tell them that's observing from the outside how to do it. Instinctively, they know how to break themselves free. And it happens, perhaps slowly, but it does happen through nature. Now, how does that tie to our Torah portion? You might want to know. And just bear with me for a moment. In our Torah portion, it talks about the Israelites being so heavily under the burden of slavery that they refused to believe that Moses was sent by God to redeem them, to save them. They're really incredulous about it. And the Torah says that they are a term called kotzer ruach, which can literally be translated as short of breath or low in spirit. And that's been interpreted through some of the commentators to mean that they were so encumbered by the hard work and the servitude that they could not see a potentiality beyond that darkness. They were so used to suffering and oppression that they didn't know how to, for lack of a better term, peck their way out. They couldn't even dream of it. So even a messenger directly from God was not someone that they were ready to believe. They were kotzer ruach. They were short on spirit, so constricted that their breath was tight and not ready to move on and not able to move on. And I think in our lives, it's important that whatever it is that we are doing, it may not even be suffering. It could just be that we're so deep in our work or so absorbed in the day-to-day life of housework and looking after our kids and also going to work and all of the tasks that involves, that just barely getting through a day is a monumental achievement. And then we get into patterns and routines, and those routines can be exhausting and maybe sometimes undesirable, but we're so deep in that habit that we can't get on the outside and look in and see how we might make things better, how we might adjust or change things. How can we then emerge from this shell that our lives have put us into and take charge of it and make things different? So we in our lives may not be slaves in Egypt, but we still can be kotzer ruach, short on breath, short on spirit, and lacking the vision that even a baby chick has to find their way out and emerge to a newer life. So as we go into the Shabbat, let us perhaps make ourselves breathe. Take a moment and pause from the daily routine. Take a look and evaluate it. And may we be able to say, maybe this is good and I'm going to keep doing this. Or there's some things that maybe we'd like to change bit by bit so that we can all have not just a Shabbat Shalom, but a Chaye Shalom, a life of peace and a life of goodness and prosperity. That's my wish for all of you. And let's have a Shabbat Shalom, and I look forward to seeing you all real soon.